Good morning. Today I will be presenting on emotional intelligence. About myself. My name is Ariana Vigil and I am a mother of two and a wife. I received my associate's degree in business management a few years ago, and after applying for a few jobs that I didn't qualify for because I didn't have a bachelor's, I decided to go back to school and pursue my education. That's what brings me here today. I currently work as a project manager for the state of New Mexico. I oversee infrastructure projects for the counties of Socorro, Sierra, and Doña Ana. My job is rewarding in the sense that the federal dollars spent and the technical assistance I give is used to improve the communities of New Mexico. I enjoy working out at the gym and spending time with my family. About the author. Daniel Goleman is an author who is an internationally known psychologist who lectures frequently to professional groups, business audiences, and on college campuses. As a science journalist, Goleman reported on the brain and behavioral science for the New York Times for 12 years. His 1995 book, Emotional Intelligence, was on the New York Times bestseller list for a year and a half and a bestseller in many countries. Apart from his books on emotional intelligence, Goleman has written books on topics including creativity, transparency, meditation, social and emotional learning, and ecological crisis. The Harvard Business Review called emotional intelligence, which discounts IQ as the sole measure of one's abilities, a revolutionary paradigm-shattering idea, and chose his article, What Makes a Leader, as one of 10 must-read articles from its pages. Emotional Intelligence was named one of the 25 most influential business management books by Time magazine. The Financial Times and the Wall Street Journal have listed Goleman among the most influential business thinkers. Goleman's work as a science journalist has been recognized with many awards, including the Washburn Award for Science Journalism, a Lifetime Career Award from the American Psychological Association, and he was made a Fellow of the American Association for the Advance of Science in recognition of his communicating science to the general public. Daniel Goleman presented emotional intelligence as a main factor of success. He rejected the conventional concepts of intelligence, IQ scoring, reliability, and alertness of mind as elements of success. He argued that self-control, enthusiasm, and persistence are the main features of every successful story. The intelligence tests were originally designed to screen the candidates with higher level of mental alertness. It is another debate whether intelligence equates to the IQ scores, but it is a fact that the majority of the successful people score average on IQ tests. Mental alertness may play some role, but it is not the main reason of success in most of the cases. Emotional intelligence is about having the ability to understand and manage the emotions of yourself and also those around you. Remember, the objective of a leader is to complete the task successfully, keep the team together, and manage the team in an individual basis to ensure everyone is happy and playing to their strengths. The following steps describe the 5 components of emotional intelligence at work. Note that a hallmark is how the trait is shown. Number 1, self-awareness. It is to recognize and understand your own moods and motivations and their effect on others. To achieve this state, you must be able to monitor your own emotional state and identify your own emotions. Emotional maturity in this trait shows confidence, sense of humor, and aware of your impressions on others. Number 2, self-regulation is all about controlling your impulses. Instead of being quick to react rashly, you can rein in your emotions and think before responding. You express yourself appropriately. Emotional maturity in this trait shows taking personal responsibility for your own work/deeds, adaptable to change. When someone is complaining or is rude to you, you do not respond in kind. You respond in a manner which would not escalate the situation. Number 3, internal motivation. Internal motivation is marked by an interest in learning. It is also self-improvement versus a pursuit of wealth and status. Emotional maturity in this trait shows initiative and commitment to complete a task. Number 4, empathy is the ability to understand another person's emotional reaction. This is only possible when one has achieved self-awareness, as one cannot understand others until they understand themselves. Emotional maturity in this trait shows observant of others' emotions and taking an active interest in their concerns. Proactive, able to anticipate someone's needs and appropriate reaction. Social situations such as office politics do not faze one who has a firm grasp of empathy. And number 5, social skills. Identifying social cues to establish common ground, manage relationships, and build networks. Emotional maturity in this trait shows communication, listening and responding appropriately, influence and leadership, the ability to guide and inspire others, conflict management, the ability to diffuse difficult situations using persuasion and negotiation. The following slide is a clip on emotional intelligence.
Daniel Goleman argues that IQ isn't everything. Our current view of intelligence is too narrow, ignoring important abilities that determine how well we do in life. The superior metric that Goleman prefers to use to measure life success is EQ, otherwise known as emotional intelligence. It's made up of these 5 things. Number 1, self-awareness. This is knowing one's emotions as they happen. If you can do this, you'll make better decisions. Number 2, managing emotions. This is the ability to handle feelings. People that can manage their emotions are good at bouncing back from the setbacks in life. Number 3, self-motivation. Number 4, empathy. This is recognizing emotions in others. This is the people skill that makes people better at teaching, sales, and management. And last of all, handling relationships. These abilities lead to popularity, leadership, and interpersonal effectiveness. So how do we improve our emotional intelligence? Goleman offers various insights throughout the book. I'll go over the ones that I found the most useful, and I think you will too. Lesson 1. The ventilation fallacy. Venting when you're angry prolongs your mood rather than ending it. Goleman tells of a story where he's in New York and he hops in a cab. The impatient cab driver honks the horn, signaling a young man to move out the way. The young man flips a bird, so the cab driver yells back, "You son of a bitch!" followed by revving the engine loudly out of anger. As the cab takes off, the driver then says, "You can't take shit from anyone. You gotta yell back. At least it makes you feel better." Contrary to popular belief, Goleman, along with findings from multiple studies, argues that venting your anger doesn't make you feel better, but instead prolongs and amplifies your anger. It pumps up the emotional brain's arousal and leaves people feeling more angry. Don't get confused though. Venting when you're sad can be a great way to get your feelings validated, but isn't as effective when you're angry. So when you feel yourself becoming angry, what can you do to control your anger? A. Take a few deep breaths to help you relax and slow your heart rate. This helps your body go from a high arousal to a low arousal state. B. Go for a walk, but don't indulge in anger-inducing thought. C. As bad thoughts come to you, write them down and then reframe them. For example, if your spouse gets upset at you and storms out the room, instead of thinking, "Oh, she's so cranky all the time for no reason, it drives me nuts," write down that thought and reframe it to, "Maybe she's just had a bad day at work." Lesson 2. Don't ruminate when you're sad, distract yourself instead. A saleswoman gets depressed and spends so many hours worrying about it that she doesn't get around to important sales calls. Her sales then decline, making her feel like a failure, which feeds her depression. But if she reacted to depression by trying to distract herself, she might well plunge into the sales calls as a way to get her mind off the sadness. Sales would be less likely to decline, and the very experience of making a sale might boost her self-confidence, lessening the depression somewhat. What Goldman is trying to say here is that continuing to think negative thoughts will lead you deeper into sadness. Distractions are what break the chain of sadness-maintaining thinking. The best distractions are ones that will shift your mood, such as a funny movie, reading an uplifting book, or going to an exciting sport event. He says distractions are more effective than crying because crying often reinforces rumination and prolongs misery. Goldman offers 4 more solutions to managing sadness. Alright, here are some goodies. A. Aerobic exercise is good because it changes your physiological state. Depression is a low arousal state, and aerobic exercise counters it by putting you into a high arousal state. B. Go for that easy success. Do that small task that you've been putting off for a while and reap the rewards. C. Reframe the situation. Just like with anger, take note of bad thoughts when they come to you and see them in a more positive light. I can resonate with this strategy, which helped me after my first relationship ended. I had a lot of negative thoughts like, life will never be the same without her. After 7 months, I finally accepted that the relationship was over, and if I continued to grieve, I would surely get nowhere. So instead I thought, okay, that relationship wasn't so great. What can I learn from it? This was a massive turning point in my life. I'm now in a new relationship and things are going great. Something that never would have happened if I didn't change my thinking. Lastly, help others in need. It helps us empathize with others and lifts us out of negativity. Okay, next up, this is one I really like. Here we go, lesson 3. The artful critique. How to criticize the right way. Criticism is important in how it is given. It determines how satisfied people are with their work, with those whom they work with, and those who are responsible. One of the worst criticisms if you're managing people is to say, "You're screwing up," delivered in a harsh, sarcastic, angry tone. It provides neither a chance to respond, nor any suggestion of how to do things better. It ignores a person's feelings and leaves them feeling helpless and angry. A much more effective way to criticize would be to say, "The main difficulty at this stage is that your plan will take too long and so escalate costs. I'd like you to think more about your proposal, especially the design specifications for your software development, to see if you can figure out a way to do the same job more quickly." This gives them hope of doing better and suggests the beginning of a plan to do so. Goldman says you need 4 things to successfully deliver constructive criticism. They are: be specific, offer a solution, do it face to face, and be sensitive by showing empathy. Lesson 4. Emotional contagion. Set the emotional tone. So in a simple experiment, 2 volunteers filled out a checklist about their moods at the moment, and then sat facing each other quietly, waiting for the experimenter to return to the room. 2 minutes later, she returned and asked them to fill out the mood checklist again. The pairs were purposely chosen so that one partner was highly expressive of emotion and one who appeared flat and expressionless. It turns out that the mood of the expressive person had been transferred to the expressionless person. This is an example of emotional contagion. Our emotions are contagious like a virus. They spread through others. This is why speakers like Tony Robbins are able to hype up their audience and get them involved. They show their passion and energy, which spreads through the audience like wildfire. Goldman says this ability to drive the emotional state in another person through emotional contagion is at the heart of influencing people, whether that's through speaking, teaching, singing, or in any other interpersonal communication.
My advice today to myself and my peers is to read this article and possibly the book and reflect on how important it is to incorporate all of these elements into our daily lives. When I was reading this article, I could see the different situations I had strengths in and others I have been poorly aware of. It has opened up my eyes on how I want to approach certain situations and how I want others to perceive me as a person, co-worker, and mother.